We're about halfway through 2024, so I thought now would be a great time to chat a little bit about what we can expect in the next 6 months of the London real estate market. Hello, this is Cory. Let's start with prices and where they fall here 6 months into the year. So the average house price in the London and surrounding areas kind of falling around that $660,000 mark. That's actually down by about 2.8% from the same time last year, but up slightly from the previous month. One of the main factors that we're seeing as we hit the midway mark of the year here is that our inventory numbers are growing. So we actually see more and more houses hitting the market, and on top of that, we have fewer homes that are selling. Not significantly, but those numbers are coming down just a bit. What we find is that we're actually seeing about 50% of the homes hitting the market are selling right now. When we do these market updates, it's often easy to paint in broad brushstrokes saying that the whole London real estate market is doing the same thing, but that's just simply not the case. There's so much nuance to a real estate market, whether that's particular neighborhoods or certain price ranges, and that's certainly the case for London as well. As mentioned previously, the average price kind of hovers around that $660,000 price point. And what we actually find is that the market below that price point is moving quite well. So you see a lot of the first-time home buyers, second-time home buyers. In that price range, all those homes are transacting fairly well and still moving. However, buyers are still fairly prudent. They're not going to pay for an overpriced home, or if your home just isn't in a desirable neighborhood, then that can slow things down for sure. Where we see things that are a little bit slower is that 660 plus. In that price range, that market is a bit more saturated with inventory. Buyers tend to be a little pickier, especially because they also probably have a house to sell if they're going to buy that one. But one of the other markets we see that's still moving well is more of that upper end market, or something that's unique, particularly in the country property side of things. If you have a property that comes up that people are waiting for, then those still tend to move fairly well, providing they're priced appropriately. One of the surprises we had here in June was actually around our inflation data. We expected inflation to continue to fall, which is what led to the last policy rate drop. But in fact, we actually saw it tick up a little bit. And it's now an expectation that come July Bank of Canada meeting, they'll probably hold that policy rate. Again, as I've discussed in other videos, the policy rate that the Bank of Canada is offering is not the end-all be-all of what's going to happen or drive the real estate market. There's other factors such as population growth or just the overall economic health of the city or the community that you're part of that's going to dictate whether prices are going to grow or whether houses are going to sell more frequently. One of the topics that we saw discussed often in the news over the past year was just the population growth that we saw here in Canada. And a large part of that was due to obviously immigration. And the immigration numbers that we saw were significantly higher than we typically do. However, the expectation is that as we head into 2025, that those levels will kind of return to normal, and we're not going to see the huge influxes of people coming into the country that we did previously. Now, that being said, the Canadian real estate market is still dealing with a lack of supply. There's still high demand from not only the general population, but also those folks that we saw come into the country as well. On the heels of talking about population growth, one of the things that you want to look at for a city is, do people actually want to move here? And oftentimes they're coming for jobs and job opportunities. So when we look at London, London is actually expected to be one of the top cities heading into 2025 for economic growth, with a 2.5% growth in GDP expected. And a large part of that is that it not only has a strong foundation with things such as the university and the hospital providing employment to people here in the city, it also has a fairly diverse economy with large manufacturing here, as well as some unique opportunities coming in the future, such as the Volkswagen battery plant being built south of the city. All those factors are going to cause people to want to move into the city, seeking jobs and wanting to live here. With all that being said, talking about what's going on in the London real estate market here, what can we actually expect for the next 6 months here of 2024? And one of the things that I would look at right now is the fact that we do have a growing amount of inventory on the market. So I don't think we're going to see a huge uptick in prices. In fact, I think buyers over the next 6 months are going to continue to have good opportunities with a selection of houses to look at. So if you're a buyer in the market, you know, the future expectation is that interest rates are slowly going to come down as inflation becomes under control. And I think now is actually a great time to hop into the market if you're looking to do that. Now, if you're a seller, it's a little bit tougher. You may have to come to grips with reality of, hey, our house is going to sell for what it did last year or 2 years ago. And in fact, it may take us a while to get that property sold. So what does the real estate market look like 2024 and beyond as we head into 2025? One of the things that we often look at is housing starts, new construction of homes. And honestly, that's kind of at all-time lows. Developers are sitting on the sidelines for the same reason that some buyers are right now, is the increased borrowing costs and just the uncertainty of what the future real estate market holds. And I think all of that leads to kind of a lack of supply as we head into the future of 2025 and beyond. And the reality is that I think that will cause values to stabilize. We're not going to see a huge fallout in the value of houses here. So if you're waiting for some sort of crash or something like that, I don't think that's going to happen unless there's some sort of huge economic catastrophe that would cause something like that to occur. Here's a little bonus that I'll add to the end of this video. If you're a real estate investor, I think that right now could potentially be a fantastic time to buy. The struggle is that a lot of investors leverage themselves up through the COVID years, and right now they're just trying to stay afloat and manage the properties that they do have. However, if you have the purchasing power and you're in a buying position, then I think there's wonderful opportunities out there right now. There's certain investors that are looking to deleverage and offload some properties and probably willing to do it at a bit of a discount. So if you have a longer view of the real estate market, right now could be a fantastic time to buy, and you'll thank yourself 5, 10, 15 years from now. That's my 2 cents on it. And I think a lot of the factors that I've discussed in this video kind of contribute to my philosophy on that. I want to thank you for tuning into another quick market update. If you have any thoughts or questions, then I invite you to leave a comment down below. Other than that, thanks for tuning in.